Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to learn something new. Already in second unit we had finished prose. Last week we had some tenses, all the 12 tenses you had seen. And today you are going to see a beautiful poem or poem. Understand? So today I will just read it out for you. Unit 2, poem, the listeners. Okay, here the poet who has written this poem is Walter de la Mare. 1873 was born, 1956 he had died. So this was in London. He is a Britisher. He is a very good English poet writer. Okay, short story writer. He is a novelist. He is best known for his works, especially for children. Among all his poems, he has written this listeners. So it is very most and best one for the children, and you are going to see this. Understand? As I said, he was an best English poet. Understand? So we will see about this and what it says, everything. I had written on the board for you. We can read this line by line and I will explain this to you. This poem has implied or it has some hidden meanings so that everyone who reads will understand, not directly, but it will take a time. If you read twice or thrice this poem again and again, definitely you will understand. So the whole poem is about 36 lines, but for you, for 7th standard children, they had given only 19 lines. So this poem is a memory poem. So you are all at home, what you should do? You should memorize this poem. Understand? Very easy, very simple, very easy to learn. Understand? Day by day you just learn 4 lines a day. Definitely you can learn all the 19 lines. Okay, now I will read what is on the board for you first. Is there anybody there? Said the traveller, knocking on the moonlit door, and his horse in the silence champed the grasses of the forest ferny floor, and a bird flew up out of the turret and the traveller's head. So now, in these lines, in all these lines, what the poet wants to say, we will just see it. So he is here, he is saying, is it like someone speaking? Can you hear? Can you listen? Can you read this? Is there anybody there? Said traveller. So here we see it is like as though someone is speaking there or saying something. So it is like a narrating it. The mood of the poem is serious. Understand? Asking, is there anyone there? Anybody there? Like that probing question. Speaking like that. So here the atmosphere looks like we don't know whether it's I, you, she, he, who we don't know. Understand? But this traveller, he's been traveling. Where? Into the forest. So we see here he just traveled into the forest and he goes, he finds a house there, and what he does is, in the moonlit door, that means maybe 12 o'clock in the night or 1 o'clock in the midnight, you can see the moon up in the sky. So in that light, what he does, he goes and knocks the door. Okay? And how he has gone into the forest? He has gone into the forest on a horse. So he has made that horse to stay closer to that house, so that what that horse is doing, it's just eating, chomped the grasses in silence. Chomped means what? We see here, bit and chewed upon noisily. With a lot of noise, it started chewing the grass. Understand? So, in that forest, you find the floor is of ferny. Ferny means what? Leaves, leafy plants, like a small bush or something like that, which doesn't have flowers, no flowers in that. And a bird flew up out of the turret. So, in that building, in that house, there is a big, tall, like chimney kind, understand? We had read in the last lesson. So, it is a bigger, long kind of a turret. Turret means, you say, it is a small tower that projects from the wall of a building. Like a small building it has, understand? So from that, what happened? A bird flew. Where the traveler is standing near the door and is trying to knock there, it just went above his head. Understand? So next, we will see, and he smote upon the door again and second time. Is there anybody there? He said. But no one descended to the traveler. But no one descended to the traveler. Okay, we will see these lines. And what happened is, first time he knocked, no one opened. Next time, what happens? Usually, you are all at home. Sometimes what you do, you try to knock the door very gently. Your parents might be sleeping or resting, understand? Or grandparents. You don't want to disturb them, you knock very gently first time. First time they didn't open. Second time what you do? You just get annoyed and bang on the door. Or you smote. That means what? Loudly. Understand? Here, knocked loudly. For second time, what did the traveler do? He knocked again loudly for the second time. Again he is asking a question, what? Is there anybody there? He said. But no one descended to the traveler. That means what? Ascendant means going up. Descendant means coming down. That means what? No one heard the smote. He knocked loudly. That sound no one heard. No one came out. No one came down to open the door for the traveler. Next. No head from the leaf-fingered still, leaned over and looked into his gay eyes, where he stood perplexed and still, but only a host of phantom listeners. So here in this 4 lines we see, what we see here is, no head from the leaf-fingered sill. That means what? Sill means it is a horizontal piece of timber beneath a window or a wood. For an example, see, this is a door, this is a board. Think this is a window, understand? Or a door. Can you see the beneath here? A piece of wood. So this is this wood beneath the window. Think this is a window. Beneath this is a piece of wood is there, this is called as a sill, understand? And in your saris, your mother saris, or when you were a childhood, or especially for the girls, they do some sort of design, some fluffy or some kind of a tassels, something like that to beautify the sari or the dress. They have some frill, they say that, you know. So that window was like that. Why it was like that is because the leaves on this thing was there, so it looked as though it was a leaf fingered sill, understand? So leaned over and looked into his grey eyes. So it was like someone leaned and looked into his grey color, grey eyes. Usually the Britishers, they'll have blue eyes or grey eyes. Understand? Only we Indians, we have black eyes. Understand? Or sometimes it is brown. Where he stood perplexed. This traveler is just standing there. Perplexed means what? Confused. Confused and still. He is not moving. He is just standing still. But only a host of phantoms, listeners. A host of phantoms. It is a collective noun. You say, many ghosts is there. You say no. So that is a host of phantoms. That means many ghosts, many spirits are there in that house. They are listening to this traveler's knock. And whatever he is saying, are they listening from inside? Are they staying inside that house? That dwelt in the lone house then, stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight. So he is standing there and he is listening. Someone will come and open a what? A host of phantom spirits are inside the house or what? Inside that house or what? He is just listening to that. Stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. Stood thronging the fine moon beams on the dark stair. So here we see, it's like as the ghost, a host of ghosts are there inside, and he's trying to knock and no one is responding. The stairs are dark and there is little moonlight shining through the window, and this stairs which you climb on it just goes into the empty hall. Understand? So here it is like something like many men are there. Many spirits are there in that house. He has a feeling of that. So stood thronging. Thronging means what? It says here crowding. Understand? The faint moonbeams on the dark stairs. Then it says here is another two lines are there. I will just write this here for you. That goes down to that goes down to the empty hall hearkening in an air stirred and shaken. by the lonely travelers call. So here we see stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall. Where this staircase goes? It goes to the empty hall. It leads to the empty hall. Hearkening in an air stirred and shaken. Hearkening means what? Listening attentively. Stirred means what? You stir up something. You have something, you have a cup of milk, understand? You put some Horlicks or something into that, and what do? You stir it up. So it is stirred and shaken by the lonely traveler's call. So whatever this fellow was, this traveler was just calling out, is there anybody there? He said no. So all this call and knocking on the door and trying to get in. So what he heard, it was like a host of phantom, that means a ghost or the spirits which is there inside that. Like that he had all kind of imaginations. So he goes down, he is trying to climb up the stairs, and he wants to go that stairs leads to the empty hall. And then what he did, he listening. Hearkening means what? He is just listening to the stirred up and shaken sound. He is just listening very attentively by the lonely traveler's call. He is just alone, a traveler, but he didn't get any response. Understand? So as I said, this is 36 lines, only 19 lines of given here. So here we see all these things had happened to this traveler. Poor traveler, he has traveled all the way from there, but he hears the ghost sound attentively, and loud vibration and disturbed the air around. He just hears the vibration and disturbed in the air. Air stirred up, understand? Air stirred up and shaken by the lonely, only alone travelers call. Call means what? Whatever he was trying to say, whatever he was knocking, no one heard it. Understand? So I hope you understood the poem, and in this and in the previous poem, some figures of speech, understand, are there. Just I will just teach you all that now, continued with this poem, understand. So now, okay, now listen here. You have some alliterated words. Okay, alliterated words you have, which is the consonant sounds. Understand? For an example, in this okay, I will just write this line again for you, and we will just see it. Understand? So here, alliterated alliterated words, understand? Alliterated words are nothing but, it is all a consonant sounds. Vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Leave all that sounds. Other than that, it is all consonant sounds. For an example, in this line, you come across forest, ferny, floor. Forest, ferny, floor you come across. So here in the fourth line in your textbook, of the forest ferny floor. and the bird blew up of the turret. So here forest, ferny, floor. In that line, all see fur sound. Okay. So all this is called alliterated words. Next you come across the rhyming words. Rhyming words. Can you see that? Still. Understand? I will write here still. Next you come across head. When you see that, when you read that things, you will know. Head, said. I rubbed this lines as I don't have face, I rubbed it. Okay. You have next then. Men. See the other side you can see. Here then men. Understand? Next you have hall. Call. That too I rubbed it. Hall. Call. So these are all rhyming words, alliterated words from the poetic lines. Understand? So next we have the figures of speech. Understand? Figures of speech, you have simile, metaphor, personification, and then you have hyperbole. Understand? So with all this you will learn just only the things what it says with a brief explanation, very short, in an easy way. I will just explain it to you. Understand? You have I will just do this for you. Okay, first simile. Understand? Simile. Okay. Now first you have simile. It's not smile, it is simile. So what are simile? It is a direct comparison between two unlike objects. Understand? It is a direct comparison of two unlike objects. Understand? Or unlike things. And you can say direct comparison, one thing, direct comparison, okay, direct comparison. Another one you can say using, like, or as. Okay, how do you find out this? It's very easy. Understand? First, I want to give you an example. So here, life is like a box of chocolates. I will just write one or two examples and I will do it for you. Okay, now listen here. See here. Life is like a box of chocolates. So this two objects I said, So you are comparing directly to that object or directly to the thing you are comparing by using what is the key word I said. Like, otherwise as. Like or as you are using it. Life is like. Life is like a box of chocolates. Understand? Next one, he is, like word you used? Okay. Next, we will see another example using as. He is as tall as giraffe. Understand? Giraffe is tallest one, okay, among the animals. So you are comparing this person with directly you are comparing this person as tall as. Understand? So are you clear now? You are using the keyword like, otherwise as. You are directly making a comparison for these objects or for the things. Second thing we will see, metaphor. Metaphor, the indirect comparison between two unlike objects, ideas, thoughts. So here we saw the simile as direct comparison. In metaphor we are going to see indirect comparison. They won't be like, as word will not be there, but you will make a comparison that will give a meaning. Understand? So the first one is time is money. Second one, your brain is a computer. Okay, two examples are enough for you. Orally I will say, if you want some more sentences, orally I will tell you. Time is money, understand? See, this time is compared to money. Time is like a money, na? It is simile, like word is there. Here there is no like, here there is no as, but you are comparing the time to earning money. Your brain, okay, your brain is a computer. See here, a person only has a brain, but you are comparing that to the computer. But you don't add like word is not there, as word is not there. But you are making indirectly you are making a comparison. Understand? Indirectly you are making a comparison to the thoughts, ideas, objects. Understand? So first one, time, usually who follows the time? People only will follow the time. Understand? So here for this objects, for this money, you made a comparison how people earn money during the time. So direct. Time is money. Here your brain is a computer. So for an example, someone is in the class, say Abhishek is in the class. Okay, so if you say anything to Abhishek, tomorrow morning you just remind me, this means immediately he will be like a computer. Tomorrow morning as soon as I enter the class, he will remind me. It is like a memory box inside. His brain is like a memory box. So immediately he will remind me in the class what I should tell the students. Understand? So here there is no like word, there is no as word. So your brain is a computer. Indirectly you are making a comparison. So that is called metaphor. Understand? Third one, we will see here. Okay, anaphora. Okay, anaphora I said, understand? I mentioned hyperbole you all don't have. Understand? Anaphora you have. It is the deliberated repetition of the first part of the sentence in order to achieve an artistic effort. Understand? So many lines I had given in your, I had written previously on the board. So from that, again I have to write. I will just write one line and I will explain it to you. So here it says, stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight. Quiet moon of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. Again there is, again stood. Understand? Stood tonging the faint moonbeams on the dark stairs or stair. Understand? So it deliberately repeats. See, stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight, that to that voice from the world of men. Again stood tonging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair. So the deliberately it is just making the repetition of the first part of the sentence. So that is called anaphora. Okay, and next one more you have personification. Understand? So the next one you have personification. What personification says? Okay, now personification attributes a person's nature, personal nature of a person or human characters or human characteristics to something non-living or non-living things. See, it is a person's characterization or the characters or the human's attributes which you say on the non-living thing is called a personification. For an example, my alarm helps at me to get out of bed every morning. Or in the previous poem you have the computer swallowed grandma. The computer swallowed grandma. That also you can write. But here I will just give you some example. My alarm clock else at me to get out of bed every morning. Second one, the wind. Hold, making a noise in the night. Howled. Okay, now listen here. Or you can have one more also. The computer swallowed, grandma also is there. So personification, what I said? Human attributes, human characteristics are said on the non-living things. Understand? Very easy. So now, alarm clock is a non-living thing. So this is saying about a person's character. It is waking that fellow up. So the alarm clock helps, makes a noise. Hey, don't yell in the class. That means what? Don't make noise. Helps at me to get out of the bed every morning. Understand? Next, the wind howled, made some noise in the night. Who makes the noise? Usually people only will makes the noise. Who is sleeping in the night? Person is sleeping. But the non-living thing saying more on the person. That is emphasized. Or the human's characterization is said on the non-living thing. Understand? So next, the computer swallowed grandma. Computer, can it swallow grandma? No. Understand? So, like this, human beings, characteristics, attributes, all this is said on the non-living thing. Understand? So, I hope you understood the poem, the listeners, and the first poem and the second poem, whatever was there, rhyming words, alliterated words, figure of speech you had learnt. What you learnt? Simile, metaphor, anaphora, and you had learnt personifications. So all this is there for the poem. When you learn a poem, all this is there. So I really think this would have been helpful. This would have been a very great helpful for you, and you had learnt something from the poem. Figures of speech you had learned. What is related for 7th standard? Understand? So alliterated words, rhyming words, all this you had learnt. Okay? So with this I want to conclude my poem, second unit, the listeners for you. This is a memory poem. Memorize them. We may ask any lines, any stanza we may ask you. So you be prepared by all the 19 lines. Okay, with this I want to complete the lesson. Poem.